Joel, you are muted. Let's run that again. Here we go.
Wait a second, Bradster.
What?
What stock do you think I'm talking about?
Workday?
Workday. Yeah, you got it. Because so Dennis couldn't ruin it and come in and say, oh, Joel's going to do his mute trick. Okay.
Okay.
All right, let's go from the top. We are going to talk about one stock today. We're going to talk about the price action in Workday and the unfolding of the news, which Triple D was going to keep an eye on. A lot of ratings. Tuesday, the Analyst, they're done with the weekend. They do their ratings Tuesday night. We got a bunch of ratings to cover. Fed, sell the news or not, okay? We're going to talk Biotech at 8:35 with Zhong from Wedbush. We got a jam-packed day here on Pre-Market Prop. Let's get it started.
The volatility right now is really incredible.
Wow, look at that consolidation on the upper right chart.
You know what we've seen this earnings season? Some of these expected moves get even more violent. This is why I have switched my strategy 10 years ago. And if you're chasing, you're in trouble.
Well, let's take a look at the futures. We're down a little bit, little nervousness ahead of the big news. Only down a couple handles at 66.65. The buck up slightly, 18 cents, 1942. TLT, look at that, staying in the 90 handle here, up 38 cents, 90.73. Crude pulling back, pulling down the stocks as well. USO down 24 cents at 75.43. A little breather here in the GLD, down a $1.86, 337.73. SLV down 80 cents. That's much more on a percentage basis, 37.80. And Bitcoin, well, that's down triple fives at 116,535. Let's bring on Triple D. And Triple D, I didn't let you ruin my joke. Did you get it when I was unmuted at the beginning or not?
Actually, I missed it. I was just getting back to my seat. So I missed the whole intro. I'll rewatch it.
Okay.
Oh,
I'll tell you, you don't have time. I said, we're going to talk about one stock.
No, I saw that.
Oh, I was on mute.
That part. I missed the very beginning of it, the very beginning, though.
Okay.
When you started, but it was good. Joel's always funny. Just housekeeping stuff here. First, want to wish a happy birthday to my lovely wife.
Really?
And also, it's funny, happy anniversary to my parents. They have the birthday and my parents' anniversary on the same day. So happy anniversary and happy birthday. So with that being said, let's get down to business here. Fed Day. The Fed. It's all about the Fed. What are they going to do? Nobody knows what they're going to do. We know what they're going to do. We know what's going to happen. It's a quarter point. Everybody knows it's going to be a quarter point. The tone going forward, do they make a path where they could start going more aggressively with the cuts? All that to be determined, but I think it's, quarter this year. I'm pretty sure that's how it's going down. So that's where we're at. So nothing else to be said. We can just end the show right there.
Boy, oh boy, I'm trying to find it here. We got a stat of the day here. And that stat of the day is like the Fed has cut interest rates when the market's been in 1% of its all-time high, I think 16 times. And 1 year later, every single time the market has been 15% higher. So that is, within the 1%.
Is that a Ryan Dietrich stack?
No, I can't.
Statman-Do?
That's not from Statman-Do. I can't tell you where I got the stat.
Good.
That's a good one. Yep.
So every time, so we can just buy blindly knowing the market's going to go higher.
Oh, that's what we do anyways, right?
Yeah, pretty much where we're at. That's pretty much where we're at. They just buy dips. That's what this market does. They don't care. They just come in and stocks go down. They buy dips.
I'll tell you where I got that from. My buddy Joel Kalina. That's where I got it from.
Joel is solid too. So we got lots of good stats there. Solid with the stats. Maybe not quite as good as Statman, but pretty close. Joel's awesome. Okay. The news story of the day is going to be the Fed, but the news story of last night was Workday. And this stock started going up around 6 o'clock. And I'm like, what's the news? I'm like asking around traders. I'm like, why is Workday up $5? Now it's up $7. I'm like, now it's up $9. I'm like, why is it up? What's the news? What's the news? This is at 6. When did it start going up, Joel?
By the 6 o'clock bar, it was at 227.
So at 6 p.m. last night, the stock was trading up $7. I'm like, did somebody upgrade it? Did they say something? Nobody's got the news. Looking through Twitter, even like going everywhere. Nobody's got the news. No news. No news. No news. I'm like, there's news. I'm like, this stock is trading volume, Joel. Like, what's the volume between 6 and 7? Like, how many shares?
Yeah, 6 or 7 when everyone is doing nothing. Yeah, right. Getting ready to go have their breakfast. You're going to have their
6
dinner.
p.m. 6 p.m. last night.
6 p.m. last night. I would say maybe 30,000 shares, 40,000 shares.
40,000 shares. That's big volume for Workday. Big volume for Workday after hours. Trading after hours, 224, 225, 226, 228. I'm like, it's 227, 228. I'm like, what is the news? I'm like, we cannot find the news. Nobody can find the news. Looking. And then at 7:41 p.m., Elliott issues a press release at 7:41. So it's going up at 6 p.m. Yet Elliott doesn't issue the press release until 7:41 that they are taking a $2 billion stake in Workday. Holy, that was an official press release. That's when the information and the news came out at 7:41. Who had the 2-hour lead on that? Who had the 2-hour lead? Who had that news 2 hours before the press release? Just asking. I definitely didn't have it. I went short and I was getting beats. And I'm like, oh, and then, it came back in a little bit and I was working and trying to trade it, but I'm like, I'm not out. I'm like, there's news on this. I don't know what it is, but there's news on this. At 7:41 p.m., we get the official press release. Elliott taking. I want to get the Brentster in on here because you worked the news for a long time. And news dissemination can always be a tricky thing. Like when you have a buy side rating or sell side rating, like it goes out to their clients first and then comes out. I don't know how it works on, Elliott taking a stake when they issued a press release. Like, do they disseminate this elsewhere first? Do they disseminate to privileged traders first? Because I tell you, the whole world last night had no idea until 7:41, but somebody knew.
As far as I know, it's at the company's discretion how they want to disclose something. If they want, there's kind of like 3 main ways, right? Press releases, SEC filings, and then like on investor relations page, like on a company's website. As far as I know, there's no function that says like you have to go to a SEC filing or you have to go to a press release first. So if Elliott was the one that issued this news, it's at their call how they want to do it. I think the exchange can get involved. A company or a fund might reach out to an exchange and say, here's the news that we're going to disseminate. What do you want us to do with it? But it doesn't seem like any of that, if that's protocol, it doesn't seem like any of that was adhered to last night with this Elliott Workday thing.
It's just somebody made. So if you say 30,000 shares traded between 226, 228, 2 hours before the official press release or 90 minutes before the official press release, now the stock's here up at 237. I mean, 20,000 shares times 10 points, or 30,000 shares times 10 points, you're talking 300 grand. I mean, somebody made some money on this last night, maybe some serious money. And that was just in the 6 to 7. Then there was more bracket there. There's a possibility somebody made $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 on this. So it was pretty big money there being made. So maybe the process is Elliott can tell their clients first. Maybe their clients knew. I don't know. We have no idea who knows on the other side of these trades. I just feel like this needs to be a better process for this. If this is the process, on material, because Elliott is material information. They move stocks 5,
Absolutely.
6, 7, 8, 10% all the time. So I don't know. Maybe it's not even Elliott. Maybe Elliott didn't even know. Like maybe somebody got a hold of the memo or something and leaked it to some friends. I don't know. But either way, the dissemination process on this last night was brutal because it was like 90 minutes where nobody knew what was going on in the press release and then the whole world goes. I just want fair markets. It just didn't seem fair, the whole process. So maybe they got to look at the way they disseminate that information there. Or maybe they got to see who's, getting a hold of the memo because it just didn't seem fair last night. That's where I'm at.
So, I mean, this doesn't happen extremely often, but it happens. And if you're going to be a trader and you're going to keep trading and this is going to be a living, this is going to happen again. How did you, and you kind of hinted at it already, Dennis, but you as a trader working with this lack of information, I mean, how did you handle it with your trading?
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm looking at it and saying, what's up? And then it started going ridiculous. I'm like, well, even if it's upgraded, it's up way too much for that. But then it kept going higher,
Right.
and I'm like, oh, something else. I'm like, this is more than an upgrade. This is like something, like the company had no press release, so we knew there was no information from the company. And I'm like, there's something else happening. So I cover. You move on, and that's it. If you short the thing, you move on, you take your loss, move on. And then obviously happy that I did, because stocks did up here at 239 this morning. Up another $10 from where it was last night. I just think, like, all I want is fair markets for everyone, equal dissemination. I don't know the process for this, but maybe it's got to be a better process put in place, because last night that was not a good process at all.
A lion's share of the gains were long before 741. That's all I can.
A majority of the gains were long
Yeah.
before 741.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it happens everywhere, like people get edges, and it's a huge edge. Like, oh, hey, Elliott's going to issue a press release at 741 saying they took a stake in WDAY. So Thomas is no crying in this casino. It's true. Like, maybe I'm not crying about it, because I barely lost money. I actually think, it came in a little bit there. So it wasn't like I got killed on this at all. But all I'm trying to do on this show is, one, highlight trading opportunities and different things, and two, try to make the markets more fair for everyone. So, I mean, highlighting stuff like this, just saying, I think it wasn't fair last night the way that went down. That's all.
Well,
what do you think about Joe, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you got it. You go ahead. Go ahead.
What do you think about this comment about Pepsi? I forget who dropped it in the chat just a minute ago, but somebody just pointing out, like, Pepsi was Elliott, right? Not that Pepsi and Workday are the same company, but if we're going to be talking about Workday in the context of Elliott, we probably should.
Well, Pepsi popped huge. Pepsi was a big pop as well. Obviously, we called that right. We thought the Pepsi would fade, because I'm like, what are they doing with the consumer staple? I mean, Workday is a completely different animal here. There's stories, there's other stuff, tech stock, sexier, lots of different reasons to think that Workday, is better. So let's talk about that, move away from the, dissemination of, information here, and just talk about, Elliott in general. Elliott, props to them. They are a mover and a shaker. They are powerful. They get on there. We're not saying anything bad about, Elliott at all here. We're just saying the dissemination process of how that went down last night. And it may not even be on Elliott. Elliott may not even know that happened. So I'm kind of calling it out here a little bit. Because maybe Elliott tightens it up a little bit, because somebody could have just slipped it out. So they probably didn't even know 100%. That happened. So, we're not blaming, probably. I want to be clear, I'm not blaming Elliott whatsoever. I'm saying the whole process of how that went down, though, was, not fair whatsoever. But Pepsi here, $157 went from 147 to 157. That was more of a fade opportunity, because when we were talking about it, even that day, we're like, pre-market prep, we were saying, I'm like, this is a big move, but this is Pepsi. I'm like, this isn't some sexy tech name. So I'm like, I don't know what Elliott's really going to do with this. So, and I know there was a few people, I think John Dawson in the STN room had a great short on it, that
Mike
day.
France.
And sometimes these pops are fades. I'm not saying the Workday pop can't be faded. Maybe it can. It's up 9% just because Elliott took a stake. Does that mean the company has an imminent turnaround happening here? No, Elliott's slow and steady. Elliott isn't one that just comes in and sells the next day. They try to turn around companies over time, sometimes years, Joel. Sometimes Elliott's in there for a long time, sometimes multiple years. So, turnarounds aren't always imminent here, but Workday probably needs some turnaround love here, because it's a stock that's very much underperformed. It's a stock that's in the gutter. It's an Elliott type of stock. They like turnaround stories.
What did Jaspreet say about the people with the best portfolios are the ones that are dead, right, when it comes to selling?
That was he was great, by the way. Jaspreet was great yesterday.
Yeah, great perspective. All right, I was going to go with the strong fade rant because of the Pepsi one. The Pepsi one was just in my bones. It's just like, oh my God, I wasn't buying it. We had some people in the room take a short. Dennis, he throws a little bit of caution in the wind here, because it is an AI stock. It is in the aura of technology. But I don't care. I think if you had a target up here in the 242, 241, I love the confluence here, the pre-market high, 241 even. You have all these tops here. Just keep an eye on it. I mean, maybe they open it, they jam it, 241, 243, 244. We're thinking about 250, and then you come back down to, that's just an area when you hit something 2 6, 10 times in a row, and then in one day it's back there, to me, it makes it a formidable resistance point.
Okay, lots of other stocks to get to here this morning. Obviously, the Fed is going to be, the talk. I know Brentster is planning on doing an STN watch party in the STN room there for the Fed announcement. There,
Oh,
you're going to
yeah.
be in there.
Sure.
Are you hopping
Yeah.
in there to do the Fed
Yeah.
around 2:00?
Yeah, I don't have a ton to do today, like around the housewise or anything, or out and about. So yeah, I'll be around at 2, and it's obviously a very important day. I'll get the info in there when we learn about the rate decision, and then at 2:30 when Jay Powell is doing the press briefer, I'll pipe it into there, and we can all kind of listen in and rib them and give our thoughts.
Yeah, and I'm gonna try and move some things around. I might try and pop in there too. So
yeah, and so everybody knows the quarter, and the big question is, and people want to know, like, is this going to be a sell the news event? There is speculation this is going to be a sell the news event because everybody knows it. We have seen, a lot of stocks have pretty good runs here over the course of the last couple of weeks. I think it's a coin flip. I'm not even going to make a call on this one ahead of time. I could see it going either way. I could see it being a sell the news event. I could also see like, hey, we actually have rates going down here in IWM and XBI and all those interest rate sensitive stuff ripping. TLT is up a little bit ahead of it here this morning. I mean, obviously, you're going to be watching TLT, IWM, XBI. All the interest rate sensitive stuff is going to move more so than, some like an Nvidia, which doesn't care as much about it. So think about interest rate sensitive stuff. If you are trading on that, if the market goes to roll over, it's going to be that stuff that rolls over. So if the market goes to rally, it's going to be that stuff that rallies. So the leader today is actually not going to be Nvidia for once. It's going to be the IWM. Keep an eye on it. That'll move at 2:00.
Yeah, we can look at the Fed watch tool, but we know what's going to happen at 2, right? But what happens at 2:30, we really don't know about. What's Jerome going to say, right? What is he going to say? Like, yeah, we're going to do this, and I mean, I don't see how he's boxed in here. I mean, I think it's quarter. I don't know what he can say, to turn the market. But that the pressure, man. That's it. What's he going to say?
That's going to be about commentary and the path going forward, the language. Does he hint that, hey, we're going to be in this cycle here for a very long time? It's probably not a one and done. Blue Putnam, obviously, on our show, coming on, in the STN room all the time, and giving us his information. He says it is not the Fed style to do a one and done. It is just not their style whatsoever. They start a process here. So he's saying same thing, 3 rate cuts this year. It's a process here. So, which the process begins today. There is zero doubt that rates are going down. If somebody's telling you rates are not going down, they don't know. They are going down 100%. They're going down today a quarter point. Now, it's not going to be that presser that gives us, that path, a little bit more look into that path. Does he mention still, being a little cautious in the way he's delivering the rate cuts because of potential inflation, because of tariff effects? That would be a negative. If he just says like, no, we're comfortable here, with where inflation is, we think, jobs are important and starts going that way, that would be a positive. So a lot of the commentary is going to matter.
A couple things here. Going back to that stat, those 16 times, I don't know where inflation was at that time, right? So something that, we've talked about. Eventually, this is going to be inflationary. We also thought that about tariffs. So far, it hasn't come up yet, but this is, pumping more money to the system. We'll just have to see. And also, I'm gonna, if I have to die on the vine, saying unemployment rate, the new normal on the unemployment rate with AI things that are coming is higher. It's higher. It's 4.5. It's 4.6. We are in a natural progression of higher unemployment for who knows how long. And a quarter point cut in interest rates is not going to move the needle.
And we know, they can say and sugarcoat it all they want with jobs, but AI is going to take jobs away. They are trying to say, it's going to create more jobs and it takes away. Phony baloney. There's going to be a lot of jobs lost. It will create some jobs as well, new jobs, obviously being able to manage, AI is a big thing, being able to fix AI, all that stuff. There's going to be some jobs there. Be a lot more jobs lost than made. It's going to be a different world in 5 years, and that's where we're going. And I don't know if you're not educated or if you're not, it's going to be more difficult. So I think the gap, unfortunately, actually gets wider. The gap between the rich and the poor here, it's been widening and widening. Feel like forever, where people are really struggling or people are doing really well, and there's not that much in between. I mean, I think that gap gets wider, and that's unfortunate, but I think that's where it's going. So I think to Joel's point here, no matter what the Fed does in the path here, I do believe jobs are going to be an issue in the next, few years for sure.
Well said, and a good spot maybe to highlight, at least from the last time we heard from the Fed, their 3 concerns were, number 1, jobs. That was their big concern. Number 2 was not inflation. It was slowing GDP. Number 3 was inflation. So as we're listening to Powell today, that's kind of your setup for the tone. Are they going to talk about jobs first? Are they going to talk about inflation third? Wherever he talks about those is going to give us insight into the tone, into the sentiment moving forward.
Let's move to some other individual names here. China stocks continue to explode. So if you think you got a bull market in the US, you have not seen a bull market before, because right now, this China bull market is so much stronger than the US bull market. It is on fire. FXI has went from 38 to 41.61, is up basically 8% in like the last 9 days. But individual stocks are just having monster moves now. I don't know if this capital reallocation that they finally have figured out that, hey, China's doing pretty good in AI too. But Baidu, they have woken up to Baidu. I've been pitching this stock on PreMarket Prep, on Stock Trader Network for the last year. I have been wrong for the last 9-10 months. I am now being paid for being wrong because the stock has exploded in September. It's up 44%. It's up another 9 points here today. So sometimes it's being patient. Sometimes you just got to wait it out, because you know what? Eventually, when they start coming and they start looking and you got tech stories there and you have the potential stories, eventually the money starts to figure it out. So I was about 10 months early on this trade. Finally starting to work out here. Alibaba, the same story. We were very early on that trade too, but actually my repurchase, that was almost perfect at 130. Long both Baba and Baidu. Both these stocks absolutely killing it.
I don't know how you're like so nimble, and when something in Workday and then something like this, you wait 8, 9, 10 months. If you would have waited another 8, 9, 10 minutes in Workday, you probably would have gotten plowed. But that's
you got to know when you're on the wrong side.
Yeah,
I was confident in Baidu. I kept saying, I'm getting beats here because I bought it at 90 and it was down at 80 and 76, and I'm like, I just think in long term the stock is going to be okay. Well, it's starting to be okay. Now maybe it goes right back down there, but I have sold a little bit into the Baidu rally because I just feel like it's so much so fast. But I mean, just goes up like it went up like 8 points yesterday, go up another 9 points today. Why not? These algos start going. They get all antsy in their pants and they can't stop buying.
They don't. Yeah, they don't. Yeah, they don't care. Technicals here. I'm just, you know what I'm going to do for this one? I'm going to take a step back, and I'm not going to make any and I'm just going to say, maybe the party's just getting going here. Look at that monthly. I mean, selling today. I mean, then I did this in Baba the other day too. I mean, the 50% retracement of this move. I don't know. It's a great move, and if you're trying to, trade it intraday, just remember there's a lot of price action that goes on before it even gets to our market.
Well, look at the monthly, Joel.
That's what I had up there.
Look at that bottom chart. Does this look like it's like, oh, this is so overdone? I mean, yeah, it's overdone here in the last 10 days, but holy crap, man. Like, this stock is just been in the gutter. And when you look at valuation on Baidu, and again, I don't recommend chasing it at this point in time. You got to buy on a dip, but you got to be ready. Those dips will come, and you use those opportunities maybe to get some exposure here. Baidu's PE, guess where it is now? After this 40% run, it just ran 40% in 2 weeks. Where 15. Do you think the PE is now?
15.
It's 11 on Baidu. It's 11 times earnings only still, Baidu. They're growing like crazy too. EBITDA margins 27% there. They're moving it up. They're involved in everything. They're involved in full self-drive. They're involved in AI. They're involved in so many things. Alibaba, similar story here. After this big run, and Baba has expanded a little bit further than that. The Baba PE has exploded. It's expensive now, folks. Where do you think the Baba PE is? A lot higher than Baidu, by the way. But
20.
18.
Oh,
So after this huge move, after Alibaba has just went up 120, just went up 46 points in a straight line since the earnings report, the PE is still only 18. Now, again, the reporting over there, people argue, I don't even know if you can believe the numbers, but I don't know whether I can't believe the CPI either. So what numbers? This is what we have. We trade on numbers. We trade on what we know. So, I mean, these two stocks are right now killing it. And people are saying, hey, AI in China is for real. That's what they're saying. I think they're right.
Yep. I mean, it's relevant news and something you have to cover. Now, let's go to the flip side here of China news, and it's not all good news here. They're picking on Nvidia.
Well, Nvidia has, obviously had some issues here lately, and it feels like Nvidia wants to go down. I mean, hard to make calls ahead of a Fed meeting here when we're going to get the interest rate cuts, and we're probably going to get a pretty substantial market move. But there's been a lot of work that Nvidia has done up here in the 180s, and it's struggling here. And execs are selling, man. Like, it's not just Jensen Huang anymore. Like, there is a lot. I'm still long Nvidia, by the way. I'm not selling it here. But, if we're just looking at filings here, it seems like, and again, these are usually plans. So, that they're just slowly sifting out and taking profits. But there's been a lot of execs selling, and Jensen Huang's been selling quite a bit of stock here too. I mean, it's just run too far. I mean, at a certain point in time, it needs a cooling period. And maybe that's what we go into. This stock Nvidia was $86 back in April. Now that got overdone to the downside, but now we're 173. So we're up over 100% in the last 5 months. This is for a stock that has a market cap of $4.2 trillion. So basically we just doubled. We went from 2.5 trillion to 4.5 trillion basically in a straight line over the last 4 months. PE is now 49. Now, forward PE is only 39 because projections are supposed to go up. So it's not like it's crazy nuts. It's not like we're in the internet bubble of 1999. But also, it's been pretty good run here. I think it just needs to cool
off. I think you're, without like digging into all the news and the charts, I think you have something really going interesting on here. And I'm going to go back to the monthlies here. And I just want to point out that look at this string of monthly gains. Okay. 1, 2, 3. All right. It had 3 strong months of gains. It was down a little bit in August. It closed August at 174.18. But right now we're trading right in that area, and that's also right in the area of the 50-day. So I think you got to, for your bulls, for your bears, from people that are sitting on hands, I think a really important point here for this to maintain it. Right now it's support. Every time it's dipped under the 50, they've just bought it up. Of course, market dynamics have went to that. But if this 50, and I don't even know when, the 50 hasn't been resistance in this since back in April and May. But if that 50-day starts to turn in, you start getting multiple highs in here, I think you could look for a more meaningful correction. But right now, I mean, you just have to look at the chart.
I wouldn't be chasing Nvidia up here, and it feels like it needs a little bit of a pause here. Okay. And also, don't kid yourself. AMD's strength too here. You've got to look. There's only so much pie to share here, and AMD's starting to come up a little bit as well. But AMD, right now, it's China's time, man. It's catch-up trade. It's catch-up trade time. It's been catch-up trade for the last few weeks, like with value stocks starting to show a little bit of life, IWM starting to show life. We're in catch-up times right now where, some of the mega cap tech hasn't really been killing it. Microsoft's still way off from where it was a month and a half ago. QQQs are up, but, it's being driven by other things now, maybe some other names in there. When you look at mega cap tech, it's really, not done as well as some of these other names as of late. IWM in the last month's done really well. So it's catch-up time now. That's all. Yep. We got a tip. $9.99. I like the, the pricing there, just under $10 there. So, looks like it's a smaller tip, but it's really not. Just kidding. China rally is more about the weakening dollar. China's ADRs, are they reliable? I don't think it is. I think, the weakening dollar is obviously, a good thing if you're exporting from the US. I don't think this is, this AI rally, because really we're seeing it specifically in tech names too. There are some non-tech names over in China that aren't really, they're all strong, but nothing like this. So, I mean, I think, the dollar has something to do with a lot of, a lot of these ETFs that, obviously are pricing in currency effects are in there. I don't know if it's so much on the FXI here. I think the FXI move is actually AI related, and I think it's for real. So, they got the skeptics saying, oh, this is just currency related and stuff, but I don't think I agree with that. I think the AI rally is for real. China's doing some amazing things. The US has always been number one in AI. I think they continue to be number one, but China's trying to catch up, and China's, doing some stuff over there that we got to take note of.
Also, I had Angie Setzer on, our commodity analyst, over the STN room last week, and we were talking about, not only the commodities, but overall. I mean, what the situation that Trump has put them into has really forced them to really ramp up trade with other countries, and it's going well. I mean, the back and forth that's going on, they're like, okay, we can sell here and it's a haircut, but the end result of the tariffs is made them, less reliant on the U.S. economy and finding, better deals across different countries. So the dollar effect is something definitely to keep in mind. But
it is for sure. And I've been complaining about it, even my US stocks. I've been saying, with the weakness in the US dollar, that as an international investor, your US, stock performance hasn't done well, because we know over the year, I think the US dollar is down 9%. So, I mean, if your markets are up 9%, the US dollar is down 9%, as an international investor, you're flat on these US stocks, which kind of sucks. Now, if you're a domestic investor, you don't really care. So you're like, oh, this is great, and then you're investing internationally, you can pick up even more gains. So, it all depends. Currency effects are something to consider always, though. And when you are lowering rates, let's just talk currency for like 2 minutes here. We're going to get our guest in a second here. But when you are lowering rates, it usually weakens your dollar. So what we have seen is that the US dollar has actually been weak in an environment where it probably should have been stronger, because we've seen a lot of weakness this year, and the US has some of the highest interest rates, to Trump's point, has some of the highest interest rates around the world. Canada's been lowering rates for 2 years now, like where rates are a lot lower over in Canada. So, and overseas, they've been lowering rates. So I think, it's a little bit concerning coming in that, the US dollar has been so weak already this year, and now we're going to start lowering rates, which probably just puts more pressure on the US dollar. That's a consideration if you're a non-US investor, for sure.
Okay, we got one more get one more topic in here before our guest, and Dennis, I'll know you'll be back at your desk to trade the StubHub IPO.
We got pricing on it last night here. What is the ticker going to be? What is the ticker going to be? Do we know?
Come on, STUB.
STUB? That's pretty good, Stub.
Yeah.
What is the pricing? Did we get the pricing? I know it came out last night. I saw it go by. I didn't look at it too closely. Let's go look.
I thought I saw 22 to 24.
You guys got the pricing here? Brentster's running around the background here. I did see it. I'm going to go try to find it. I thought I saw 22. Chat if you've got it here. We should have been more prepared for this. It is $23.50. $23.50.
Okay.
So they're pricing 34 million shares at $23.50. So StubHub's going to be interesting. Don't expect it to open like at 9:30. It's usually around 11:30, 12 o'clock to get these things open. What about Live Nation? What does this mean for Live Nation, LYV? Because obviously Live Nation, big ticket sales there. This is direct competitor here. Stock's been public for a long time. It doesn't change, that there's always had competition with StubHub. But does it change the landscape of the trading in Live Nation? There's another, ticket place to go to. What do you think?
Okay. StubHub. I think StubHub really missed the boat when they should have IPO'd. They should have done it a long time ago. There's a lot of other competition out there. They're very expensive. Of course, I have StubHub accounts. Of course, I do things on there, but there's a lot of other competitors out there. And the other thing I think that doesn't, now I know they do things besides sports tickets, but knowing, having Michigan football season and basketball tickets and, also checking out pro tickets and tickets for other events, they're making it tougher and tougher and tougher for resale. And I'll just give you one quick example. Jimmy Fallon was in Detroit. Did anyone see the Jimmy Fallon show from last?
Where was he?
Jimmy Fallon was at the Opera House.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and
Nice
most
venue,
incredible show. They filmed it Sunday night, and we ended up watching it yesterday. And Dana loves Jimmy Fallon, so she got tickets. And what they did is they emailed her and they said, the show was on Sunday. On Saturday between 12 and 4, her and the person that she was going with had to go to the Opera House with their IDs to get their tickets. And then, so they had to leave the Michigan game early. Oh, I wasn't going to do that. And they left. And then they gave Lisa a wristband that she couldn't take off. She could not take it off. So I'm telling you, this StubHub, you can buy it. You can buy the sporting teams, the venues, they're making it tougher and tougher. And Dennis, you would never buy a ticket on StubHub. Their rates, their fees are
the fees are crazy.
Yeah.
The fees they charge are absolutely crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lots to think about here. Obviously, Ticketmasters and Live Nation here. I don't think it's great for Live Nation to come public, though. So I think you can get a little pop in LYB.
Okay.
I'd be a seller with that pop. I think I'd be cautious chasing. I know LYB is near all-time highs. I'd be a little bit cautious on this because now there's another stock to trade. So
I don't like either.
I don't like either. Joel don't like either. Let's go get our guest.
We're going to welcome to the stage Zhong over from Wedbush Securities, covering the biotech market. You got to be getting the pom-poms out. Sharon, biotech is back.
Yeah, that's the hope. Thank you very much for having me on the call.
Okay, all right. Let's just get right to the stocks that you've been following, and I want to start with MLTX. Merck, there's some rumblings going on with Merck here. They got some critical phase 3 data in hydronetis. I'm not going to try and pronounce that. So popped over $60, pulled back here. Talk to us about Moonlake Immunotherapeutics.
Yeah, thank you. So it's a very exciting name, and like you pointed out, was a critical data readout upcoming in this month, actually, in the coming 2 weeks. And I won't try to pronounce that indication either, so I'll just call it HS. And so a little background about the company. It's developing a drug candidate for immunological indication, including that HS. And the most important catalyst that everyone has been waiting for is top-line data from 2 phase 3 studies expected to read out this month. So again, in the coming 2 weeks. And the previous phase 2 study showed excellent efficacy, and phase 2 study have a very similar design, as well as almost identical baseline patient characteristics. So we would expect the phase 3 study to replicate the success of the phase 2 study. But I do want to point out that there will be likely a big volatility in stock price upon data readout, since investors will be comparing the efficacy with the efficacy from a newly approved antibody from a large pharma company that is working very well, that is selling very well, and people tend to overread into numbers. In this case, the primary endpoint is response rate, and we would expect the response rate to fall between 20 to 25%, but every single digit will matter, so people will look at every single digit. And we believe actually the two drugs should be quite similar in terms of efficacy. And in terms of the indication, it's a skin condition affecting at least 2 million and potentially 6 million people in the US. So it's a huge market, really big enough for multiple players. And Moonlake is also running a phase 3 program in another indication, psoriatic arthritis, and is also very actively pursuing additional indications. So it's really a pipeline in the drug. And like you pointed out, in June, it was reported that Merck approached Moonlake earlier this year for a potential acquisition for $3 billion. That's the reason for the stock to pop up. and roughly to valuation of $3 billion. And MoonLake turned it down. We're not surprised by Merck's interest in acquisition. Also, we're not surprised by MoonLake's decision, since we see MoonLake as an acquisition target that eventually will be taken out. But we really believe that $5 billion should be a more reasonable valuation, and that's our $80 price target would suggest. Still roughly 50% upside potential from where the stock is trading right now. And whether the September data is positive or negative, we actually see a higher possibility of an acquisition activity in the around this name. And since if the data is positive, it will confirm that MoonLake's drug is superior actually to the competitor. So it will be a de-risk event. So pharma company will be willing to pay a higher premium based on precedent. And if the data only shows comparable efficacy, that's not a bad thing, but stock will likely react negatively. But that, in fact, will create a favorable, more bargain for anyone interested in acquisition. So yeah, the data is coming in.
Double catalyst there. Double catalyst for the stock. Not too many bio stocks trading up near old-time highs. Ascendus Pharma here. Just a wonderful performance in 2025. Continued U.S. launch of Yorvipath. And I'm not going to pronounce the second part of it, but talk about the prospects. This stock has had a big year in 2025. Can it continue?
Yes, we believe it will. So it's actually one of the top picks for 2025. So I'm happy that the stock has been doing well. And the main driver, like you said, is the U.S. launch of that Yorvipath. It's hormone replacement therapy for a patient with a condition called hypoparathyroidism, not being able to produce efficient hypoparathyroid hormone. And so the indication affects roughly 70 to 90,000 patients in the U.S. And what's special about Ascendus's drug is it is the only available disease-modifying therapy available for this patient. So the product had a very rapid uptake in the U.S. since the launch was in mid of December last year, and Ascendus has reported revenue that beat estimate for both quarters, first quarter and second quarter, and the patient that receiving prescription has shown a really linear growth. We believe the reason for the uptake is strong efficacy and also patient and physician awareness. A lot of patients there are aware of the drug and have been actually waiting for the drug to become available. And actually there is published guidance recommending the use of that therapy for patients. And so right now the projection estimate on the peak sales is above $3 billion, but potentially could be much higher, since if we do the calculation, the $3 billion actually reflects a very small fraction of the patient population, and likely those with severe disease. But the feedback that we have received from physicians suggests that even patients with a mild to moderate disease could be actively seeking treatment, will definitely benefit from treatment. So there will be a sufficient potential. And on the catalyst, I think the company has had 2 FDA approvals and could potentially has a 3rd approval coming very soon by the FDA decision date, which is November 30th this year. So very soon, and that product will be targeting another $1 billion market potential. So also very, very exciting name, and likely the combination of a regulatory update and continued commercial strong performance will support the stock to continue to outperform.
All right, let's move on to the next one. And I don't know who named this one, Protagonist Therapeutics, but whatever the name. They're working on an oral IL-23 inhibitor submitted for approval in both US and EU for psoriasis. Talk about that. But then the second part of your comment here is a recently announced oral obesity program. Aren't they kind of late to the game on that?
Yeah. So Protagonist is actually another topic from us for 2025. The oral IL-23, they have reported positive data from 2 programs. One is psoriasis, and the other one is ulcerative colitis. So both skin indication and IBD, in irritable bowel disease. Both of them are really large market opportunity. Although there are a lot treatment also already available for those indications. But the standard of care is oftentimes injectable, and for protagonists, the strength or the unique advantage of the company is that they are able to develop oral treatment, but with efficacy that is comparable to injectable, so that patients just can take once a day pills. And according to what we have heard from key opinion leaders, so once daily oral treatment is what patient would like to have, and combined with the efficacy, so we really see a huge potential for both psoriasis and ulcerative colitis. And the partner is J&J, so big company, strong presence in the immunological indications. And so the submission for approval has been submitted both in the US and EU for psoriasis. And although clinical development will still continue for ulcerative colitis, but just based on the previous positive data, we see the potential to be huge. And obesity, like you said, yeah, it's a little late, but what's unique is that they were able to really, based on what other company has reported, they come up with a very differentiated mechanism of action. It's a triple G target, so target 3 targets. So they only reported preclinical data, but the preclinical data show that the efficacy is actually comparable again, or even better than what other company has reported. And unfortunately, not unfortunately, but I think the timeline is still a little long for the company, and the clinical entry will be in second quarter of 2026. So that may cause a little concern, and that was part of the reason for the stock to drop a little when the company reported that update. But since then, the stock has recovered, and I think with the clinical entry and the potential data to be produced from that program, we do see positive potential in the stock.
Just let's take it out and back, because obviously the Fed is going to cut interest rates here today, and XBI has, not had a great few years as we've been in this hiking cycle. We know a lot of biotechs need to borrow stocks to finance their trials, and especially the smaller names. A lot of these companies aren't profitable. You think lower rates are going to help the sector?
Definitely. So I think especially, the people believe that the lower rate will benefit small cap companies, so that the environment overall will be benefit. And I think especially the companies that we cover tend to fall into this small to maybe a little mid cap companies, heavily reliant on the public market for capital access. So I think the rate cut will definitely help those biotech companies. And in fact, even before the rate cut, we are starting to see higher activity in terms of financing during the past few weeks. That was my feeling. So hopefully the trend will continue to provide support for the continued clinical development of those companies.
Breaking down the biotech market with Yun Zhong, Senior VP Equity Research, Wedbush Securities, making it simple for us. We really appreciate it. We'll get you back on again soon.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
All right. We went green there just for a second. Kind of had a nice range overnight. Had a pair of lows that were back above, but probably see some choppy action here. But we got some other ratings, Dennis. We got ratings. Well,
a couple of interesting ones. So I have two on my sheet that I definitely want to talk about here. Just before we get to that, though, we got our sponsor up there. Brentster, come on back in. You come back in.
Cool.
Yeah, I read that Slack every once in a while in the background.
No, you don't.
Where we're going. He's producing us in the background. Sometimes we ignore it. Sometimes we're like, oh, we better. So the Brentster's going to take over here for a minute.
Want to say thanks to our sponsor, Hive Digital. The show is brought to you by Hive Digital Technologies, a global leader in green power data centers for Bitcoin mining, high performance computing, and AI, operating with nearly 0.5 gigawatt of renewable energy. Hive is on track to capture 3% of the world's Bitcoin production by the end of this year. In the bottom right corner of the screen right now, there is a QR code. You can scan that to get more info, or we also put a link in the description of this YouTube video. Thanks again to Hive Digital Technologies.
Stock's been doing good. Stock's picking it up a little bit here. Bitcoin. Now, obviously, I still think if you're thinking interest rates, if you're thinking that there's potential for inflation in 2026, I don't think the crypto bull market's going away. So I'm staying along Bitcoin. Let's get to those ratings. And there was two of note. One, this one's interesting here, Joel. Netflix, which hasn't been doing that great. It's kind of just been like meandering, doing its own thing, putting in some work because it's had a really good year. But in the last couple months, like we were saying, some of the mega cap 7 has been doing as good. Well, Loop is trying to give it a catalyst here this morning. They are upgrading it to buy. They are putting a price target of $1,350 on it. The stock is trading up 17 points here this morning. Is this the catalyst to get Netflix going, or is this just another opportunity to sell a stock that's been going sideways for about 4 months?
No.
No to all? Just no? No opinion? No what?
No, I mean,
not the catalyst.
Who is this from? A buy it Loop?
Loop.
He's telling me to buy this now?
Alan Gold moves from hold to buy over at Loop. Loop's pretty good. Loop does some good ratings. I like Loop.
Okay. I mean, buying it here, I mean, I'll just give you the 50-day, which has been a struggle, and that comes in at 12.16 and a quarter. You've been above it, but really going back all the way to July, you haven't spent much time above that. So for me to say, yep, giddy up, let's go Netflix, you need to retake this 50-day. And I'm not just talking about trading it over into pre-market on a Wednesday. I'm talking getting above that, establishing some bids. I think the bulls are still in major control until you take out like the 1150 area. So there's a lot of room in between there. But just think about it. Like Netflix, like for a while, it was like, oh, the Tyson fight. Yeah, Tyson. Yeah. I wonder when the old time. I wonder when was the Tyson fight? Just for like a catalyst. Was that
a year ago?
Was it that long a year ago?
I think so. I think it was like November of last year, wasn't it? Find out what the Tyson fight was. Tyson fights chat. I feel like it was a year ago.
I think it was less, but you might be right.
Not in 2025. It was definitely 2024.
Yeah, you're right. November 24.
Look, Goldfish Memory Denny sometimes remembers further out than 6 seconds. There you go.
Okay.
He gets one right. Broken clock tells the right time.
So it's moved up substantially from them. Also, did they do it like a football game?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. So
I think they did. Was it like around Christmas? Didn't they do one?
Yeah. Holy, yeah, it was.
Holy my memory! Look at where am I getting this stuff from, Joel? You're rubbing off on me because Joel has the memory of an elf. He remembers everything. I never remember anything. That's good.
Yeah. So it needs a catalyst. But once again, I'll just stick with let's get a bit above, a solid bit above the 50-day. I think the other thing too is if you're a rah-rah market guy and you're saying, man, my stock made an all-time high in July, and look what the S&Ps have done and the Qs have done, and the IWM, I'd be kind of feeling left out.
The other rating of note, which is very interesting and probably a bold call from Evercore, they are downgrading FedEx to inline from outperform. Why is this such a bold call? Because the stock reports tomorrow. So they are coming out and downgrading ahead of the report. They think the company is going to miss. The broker says August data is coming worse than expected, particularly in industrial production and retail sales, requiring a reduction to its forecast, now seen at 1799 versus 1916. They also note that stocks up 0.3% over the last 3 months, compared with nearly a 16% decline for its main peer, has left, I don't understand that, little relative upside to the shares in the near term, particularly if estimates continue to move lower. So they are downgrading it ahead of the report. You don't usually see analysts come out 2 days before a report and make a call. This is a very bold call. They're making a call, downgrading the stock here to hold. So they're getting out. They're nervous about the report. I'm nervous about the report. I don't know. I feel like UPS and FedEx are being disrupted. UPS has just been an epic disaster, but FedEx has gotten a pass here to a certain extent, especially this year. I'm very nervous about this report as well. It's going to report tomorrow. morning or tomorrow afternoon, Brentster? Do you know if he's in the background there? I think it's tomorrow afternoon.
I think it's afternoon. Let me double check. I'll double check.
But I mean, you don't often see analysts come out and downgrade a stock ahead of a report. So interesting. Now it's just a hold. So they were out of buy. So they were just nervous to hold it through the report is basically what it is. Well, nervous to hold their call through the report. If we just go into the options chain, I'm just curious about the expected move here for tomorrow. So we're going over to the expected move. We'll just go look at the 226. We'll look at the 225s. That'll be a good price. 10, 45, 770, 18 bucks. Fairly significant. That's a pretty significant move. I don't know.
18?
18 is pretty high. More than I would have thought.
I'd be a seller all day at 244 as opposed to.
I think if it pops, it's a selling opportunity.
Yeah,
I just wonder if it isn't like one of those that we see this under 200 bucks.
And if you want to, if you're playing it from the short side, and I wouldn't look at so much at like the 18 because it actually closed near 28, 211. I think maybe, if you're trying to cover short, I'm not talking about going long, maybe, have some bids, 213, 212, 211, 210, 209, 208,
Breaking news, interrupting you right now.
What do you got?
Lyft and Waymo launch a partnership to expand autonomous mobility to Nashville. So we've seen Uber with these partnerships with Waymo. Lyft is getting, and I've been wrong on this one. I've been saying Lyft is, in the business to get disrupted. The stock has been on fire here. So, I've been bearish this stock and wrong for sure. Wow. Big moves here on Lyft. It is up 13%.
Holy macro.
Squeeze those shorts, wow. This seems overdone, but you know what? This market is the market that gets overdone. So we have seen, like I said, a lot of Uber Waymo partnerships talk. I don't know if we've seen any with Lyft. So Waymo launching a partnership to expand autonomous mobility to Nashville. Interesting. So Lyft is teaming up with Waymo. They got to do this. They need to do this. It's a smart move.
I just went to check to see what you just said right there, Triple D. If we have known that Waymo and Lyft were working together, at least officially from the company, like press release or SC filing wise, I don't see it. Seems like this is the first time Waymo and Lyft are going to be partnering for a city.
They need to do this. Lyft will be left in the dust if they don't. So they need to start getting on autonomous. Some of these companies may need to do deals with Musk and Tesla. And I don't know how easy that's going to be to do. It seems easy to do with Google because they're willing to do deals with all these ride shares. They got the app. I don't know why they need them, though. Like, I don't totally get it, why they need Lyft. I guess it's just more money, right? So, but I don't know why you just don't have, you have your own Waymo app. Why do you need Uber and Lyft? I don't totally get it from a Waymo perspective. I totally get it from a Lyft perspective. Like get involved, like get in there. Because, if you don't have the autonomous technology yourself, you're going to get left here in the dust because there'll be a lot of autonomous cars on the road here coming over the next 5 years. So you need to be involved here. Smart move for Lyft, helping the stocks up 16% here now. I'm not chasing it, though.
Digging through the press release just a little bit here, I don't see, there's quotes from the Lyft CEO, there's quotes from the Waymo co-CEO. I don't see any indication of like continuing to work this partnership, which I think is something that we have heard when we've heard these announcements, like from Uber. We've heard like, oh yeah, and we're going to be considering other cities. I don't see that in the press release. I don't know if that's like a huge cause for concern or anything, but something that I did just want to note there.
Uber going down on it. If you want to show the chart, Uber is down $2. Tesla also dropping on this news. Tesla is now down 5 points. So I don't think it impacts Tesla that bad here. So I'm not like, oh crap, they're in trouble here. So I'd probably be more of a buy of the dip around Tesla, but let it wash itself out here a little bit too. Wow. Big moves here. Lyft is trying to get up. It's up 20% now.
Yeah, I don't even know. Move. I mean, I'm not even gonna try and call top in this one. Let it shake. Let things settle out. I don't know what the short interest is in this thing, so people could be heading for the hills. One of the few IPOs it's like absolutely just tanked on its opening
25
day. 25, Dennis.
Come on. This getting overdone. No, 25, 50, 26, 26. Is this not getting? You're not getting CNBC pop in a second because if CNBC breaks, that'll be 10 minutes after. They'll come on with this. But
26.
Get a little bit overdone.
Oh man, I'm not. Oh, boy.
But you know what? What's the short interest? Are they just squeezing the hell out of him here? Is that what the deal is? Is the short interest really high? Is that what we're looking at? Is that why we're really moving?
Sorry, Joel.
I was just gonna say, does GM still have a chunk of left, or did they puke it at the bottom?
Know.
That's a good question, Joel. I can look. Is Apple moving on this in some way? Like, it seems odd to me, but I'm looking at the Apple chart. Huge volume. It's been moving higher. Is there some rotation happening? Okay. Just a coincidence.
I don't think so. I think it's all just left. And again, 26 seems way overdone. If I was long Lyft, I'd hit the sell button right now. $26. That seems just ridiculously overdone. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'd hit the sell button at 26.
All right. 901. 901 here. I'll just say, yeah, GM still owns shares in Lyft. They partnership has changed, but tariffs bad for GM. Huh. Look at that, back near all-time highs. But we're going to wrap it up today, folks. We are going to hop over into the STN room. We are going to recap some of the price action from last night, some overnight trades. Look at the open, see if what is out there. Let's see if Workday is going to open. Probably a big buy imbalance here. We'll see if that.
I can give you the buy imbalance quickly. WDAY buy. Oh no, it's NASDAQ. That comes out at 925. We got to go John Stock Trader Network to get that buy imbalance. 925.
Okay, folks, thanks for joining us here on Hump Day. Let's see what Jerome has to say at 2:30. Join us in the STN room. We'll be covering the price action and the comments. Thank you.